คุณผู้ชมคะคุณชัยรัตน์ถมยาได้มีโอกาสสัมภาษณ์พิเศษทูตของการประชุมคอปทเวนนะคะที่ดูแลพื้นที่โซนเอเชียซึ่งจะมาคุยกันถึงบทบาทของการเป็นเจ้าภาพในการประชุมในครั้งนี้รวมถึงความคาดหวังที่จะได้จากการประชุมค่ะ
What should we expect the outcome of the COP21?
As French chairmanship, we expect the best. The best would be not only an agreement, probably a short agreement being acceptable by everybody, because we have to have in mind that we have to reach a consensus, and having a consensus between 195 not only persons but parties, countries, that's something difficult. But there is a political wish, and we just now get some positive messages. But it's not only a question of agreement. Paris in itself is not, it's not an end in itself. It's the beginning of something. It's the beginning of a new period, a new era where all countries for the world are express some solidarity between them, accept to describe what's their policy, accept to put on the table what they are able to do, but also to say, yes, with cooperation, we can do more.
After the quite disappointing meeting in Copenhagen, that people have a very high hope they're going to come out with a very positive, but it didn't. And then people seem to looking forward to 2015. It's going to be very important years that for the mankind to make a very important decision. So France as a host country, how can you do to avoid history to repeat itself again like it happened in Copenhagen?
In a way, Copenhagen was a deception, but first of all, our Danish colleagues are members of the EU, so we also consider that they did, in a way, a good job by paving the way for different technical aspects. Yes, clearly Copenhagen was not the summit where a conclusion, a definitive conclusion was taken, but at least some technical elements were taken at that occasion. And in a way, just preparing Paris just now, we have to take into account the different COPs during the last years, and the last one in Peru, but others in Warsaw, Poland, and also in Copenhagen. There are tricks we have to avoid, which were used in Copenhagen, and we don't want to use them now for preparing Paris. But the idea, first of all, of having this bottom-up movement of contributions released by each country is something extremely positive. Second, there is this commitment of channeling every year, starting 2020, around $100 billion, which is something actually, for financing this shifting from this economy to a low-carbon economy. There is a real commitment, repeated very recently at the occasion of the G7 summit. And that's something which we have to conclude on in Paris, and that was impossible in Copenhagen, clearly.
As you may have heard that a couple of days ago that China just announced a new pledge to reduce the emission. Is it a good sign before going to the COP21 at the end of this year?
It's a good sign because we need to have these indices before the COP21, because summing up all these contributions will give us just an idea of what's already done or will be done by the different countries during, let's say, the next 15 years and even beyond, but at least till 2030. But also, it could be very possible that there will be still a gap between the amount of all these national contributions and what the scientists are saying to cap the global warming at a level of 2 degrees Celsius. And this gap means there is room for cooperation, there is room for improving the measures, and that will be exactly at stake during the COP21.
And you used to be the ambassador to Indonesia and also to the Secretariat, ASEAN Secretariat. What will be the challenge for the ASEAN country to help the meeting in the COP in Paris to be successful?
We are just preparing in Paris not only the negotiation of an agreement, and we hope to get this famous legally binding agreement, UN agreement, but we will have also to discuss on three other pillars or three other elements: the national contributions, we just spoke of that, finance, and ASEAN in a way is just middle of the river. I mean, needed some and many international and multilateral and national aid contributions, but also for certain countries also being able to deliver some direct financing, thinking of, for instance, the Green Fund. And finally, a political support is something extremely important. And it seems that there is no doubt among the 10 ASEAN countries that there is really a political wish to conclude in Paris. So many of the ASEAN negotiators and experts are absolutely on the top, knowing exactly what's at stake, what has to be discussed. So they will be extremely useful during the negotiations.